Let's see. Would you look at that? It's Sunday, it's 8 p.m., and Bob was doing something quickly during the 30-second intro. And I got to do one thing, Bob. Otherwise, things aren't correctly. We got to be in the right order. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to be in the correct spot. Otherwise,
yeah.
It's Sunday. We're going to talk about repeaters today and try to figure out why people aren't using repeaters and how we can try to start to fix that. But first, it's the ham radio moment of the week. And Dave, you're in the sweet spot for starting here.
Yeah.
What's your ham radio moment of the week?
So honestly, just before we're no longer calling it the ham radio moment of the week because everyone's just coming up their entire ham radio week. So feel free. Ham radio week.
Okay, you ready?
Yep, we're ready.
You got some popcorn?
Go.
Yeah, well, like we were just saying before we went live there, I actually haven't been massively active. My usual mobile VHF through repeaters, or calling at least, and making a few QSOs. I suppose this week I did do, I was on a soda summit. Actually went for a hike with my wife this week, and the purpose of the climb wasn't really to activate the soda summit. I'd done it already this year, but took the VHF and 70 SEMs, ended up with a wholesome of one contact. But for that individual, he got his chaser points, so I was happy I'd done my duty when I was passing over a trig point. So other than that, working a little bit on our local repeaters, All-Star and Echolink node. It's through the ham VoIP system, doing a bit on that with the 4G router, and reason being that we're actually hoping to have another repeater in this area up in the next couple of weeks, and building another All-Star Echolink node for that. So it's trying to get in the settings at remote access to the node, but not to the router. So it's just kind of getting all that set up and copying and everything. So I had the same setup on the new repeater, and that's really it. That's what I've been at with ham radio this week.
Yeah, but that seems like enough to fill a week, and then probably a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
Still.
Oh yeah. Well, for me, Morton, you know what it is. I don't know if you guys are the same as me, but I'm a devil for late nights. Next thing I kind of get into something and I go down the rabbit hole, and the next thing is 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And I'm kind of like, oh man, I have to go to work tomorrow.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. You get square right. So you think you have it sorted, and then you have to do another reboot and reset, and that takes another 10 minutes. And yeah, so that's the way mine goes sometimes, but it's all part of the learning and the fun.
Yep. I need to talk to you about getting All-Star up and running on our repeater once we get internet at our site, because that is one of the things I really want to do with the repeater we have. Mm-hmm. But we'll get back to that later, though. Jürgen, how's your ham radio moment, or how has your ham radio week been? I need to reconfigure my mind to be able to say that.
No problem. Hi everybody. I did some powder hunting. We had huge openings to North America and South America on the higher bands this week. That was absolutely amazing. And I managed to hunt some stations with this crappy CB /ham radio. It's working. Hey, it's off frequency, but it's working. And according to the darling old man NC4XL Dom, it has crisp and clear audio, he said. So yeah, but the receiver is crap. And yeah, I played around with my old, because it was again LoRa week, LoRa APRS week. So I played around with my old APRS Cube again. Where is it? Here we go.
Yep.
Set it up. Oh no, it's transmitting. Okay. Played around with my LilyGo T-LoRa, and so on. I think I killed one because GPS doesn't work. I don't know. Anyway, waiting for my HealthTech device, the tracker, which will come into this housing. I showed this last time. Feel guilty, Morten?
Yeah, I kind of do.
I saw the video. Nice video.
Yep. And that's a great case, though. It's compact and nice.
Yeah, and this morning my wife was nothing to do exactly with ham radio, but with computers and ham radio. This morning my wife was still in bed, and I was sitting in the living room with my iPad watching YouTube videos, and I found a video by Retro Recipes and Perifractic, where they are in the factory in Shenzhen for the new Commodore 64, so I had to order one. I'm sure there will be a ham radio related video with
Yep. Looking forward to that, because I need an excuse to get one. So I need to see how that can be used with ham radio.
Yeah, I have so many computers I want to show. On ham, what you can do on ham radio. I have my old iMac, the lamp. Then I have my old Macintosh SE and so on. I'm still looking for software, and maybe I'm always say I will do this in winter time, and then we will see. There's so many stuff to cover. Let's see. Bob, how was your week? A great video about the putting the health. This one.
Yeah, that was fun to put together. I was got there's a saying. I think that's a Mark Twain saying, or it could be Oscar Wilde. Maybe that what is that? He says that. I forget it now. A great saying. Fantastic saying. Come on, you're Irish, Dave. Oscar Wilde. What does he say about copying?
Oh, don't ask me. The last person to ask about great sayings. Unless I came up with the saying, you're not going to hear
it. But basically, it says that is a compliment when you copy someone. And I've copied Morten twice this week. Let's see if I can share a.
But isn't a better compliment that actually Ham Radio Tube and Mike copied your power bank and that new Yaesu video?
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. That's it.
That's what I'm looking for. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you,
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, so basically, based on Morten's ideas, I have imitated and installed the tracker, the Ricardo Guzman tracker on the Liligo T-Echo, and also this fantastic 3D printed case for the that's the HealthTech wireless tracker. That's what it's called, isn't it? HealthTech wireless tracker.
Just wireless tracker.
Yeah. Which is fantastic hardware. I had it in another 3D printed case that was printed from PLA, and I left that in the car this summer, and it took on the shape of what I assume is what Americans would call a football.
Or what we would call a hand egg.
Yes, I tried not to say that. But so a bit of a LoRa APRS type week for me. And a few weeks ago, I built that battery-powered digipeater. And that's been running now for a little bit over 7 days of 3 18650 cells. And it's dropped, let's say, 18 millivolts in what it's reporting on the voltage of these batteries. So I'm thinking that might have a bit of life in it still. So going to be fun to see how long these lasts. And at some point, I'll go into the woods, someplace high up, and attach it to a tree and see how that works. Because now it's basically just downstairs in my shack. So that's.
But I am thinking with that power consumption, you could get away with a relatively small solar panel for a distributor like that.
Oh, sure. For both 2 weeks of summer in Norway, that would be excellent.
Yeah, exactly.
For the other 50 weeks, and not so much. But, I'm guessing, but looking really good. And
you have an iGate as well, Bob? Do you? That goes back to.
I have an iGate here at in my house. Basically, they're both in my house now because I'm just running it to the power consumption. But I'll put it someplace where it's going to reach my iGate at the house. I have some ideas of where I could place this, and that's going to be a fun experiment. It's fun to be back on the LoRa APRS. I haven't been playing with that for a few months now, but this is really fun to see what I can track there. And all of a sudden, I'm getting some other signals from Morten. He's been away on he can talk about it.
I can talk about that.
Yeah, but all of a sudden, some of his beacons just show up at my iGate here at the house, and that's great fun. So, and that was you must have been 150 kilometers away, and I got that beacon, not directly, mind you, but anyway, great fun.
But I was relatively high up though. The cabin I was staying at was 900 meters above sea level. So
yeah, but I think I got some what you were driving along a lake when I got some of the packets.
Yeah, that was today. I was experimenting to see how it would work with just the tracker inside the car without an external antenna, and it actually looks like it tracked me pretty well.
Yep. It did. So very, very cool technology still. So I'm happy to be back on that topic, even though I'm feels like a little bit of cheating when I just copied both of Morten's excellent ideas. But having fun with it.
That's still flattery though, Bob. So I am absolutely honored that I do something that sets some tracks across the internet. So
yeah, it's absolutely sincere at least. So that's like you can trust that. But I think that's about what I've been up to this week as far as radio goes.
Could you just talk a little bit more? I need to set something up on my screen.
I'll talk. No, I have done more things. I have done this. That's another an enclosure. It's not really an exciting thing, but this is an enclosure, which is it's just the what's it called? This Heltec V3 board inside there. And it's just configured as a TNC. This is what's connected to my X50 on the roof, which is the iGate at my house. So I wanted to put that into an enclosure that can actually stand on a desk. It's got an N connector at the back and a USB-C power connector at the side. So this is a little bit more permanent than just having the raw boards lying around. As you can see, my desk, it's usually very, very full of clutter. So it's easy to short them out or lose them underneath something. But this is working quite nicely. And I also connected that through, I don't know if I have a picture of that. It doesn't matter. I got a proper cavity filter for 33775 megahertz from China. Three cavity filter, bandpass filter, and I think that makes quite a difference because I live in the city, and there's a lot of other activity on RF that will desense these relatively cheap boards. So having that bandpass filter in line, that makes a great deal of difference to the number of decodes I have and the number of failed decodes I have. So very cool. Was that enough, Morten?
That was enough. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I bought some of these filters from China when I was responsible for our repeaters. The insertion loss can be very high sometimes. That
doesn't really matter. The thing with these, they're just amazing at the things that they can decode, but they desense too easily, especially in the middle of a city with all the noise. They will desense so easily that you can have 6 dBs of loss easily in a filter, and it's still going to do a better job as long as the filter is narrow.
Did you got it pre-configured or pre-tuned for this frequency?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So I didn't actually measure it. I just got it and I put it on there. But judging by the performance of this iGate, it's doing rather well. Well, we have one of the local digipeaters that has had its power level set down to I think 2 milliwatts. And that's some 12 kilometers away, and I'm routinely decoding that beacons from that thing. So that's I think that's pretty amazing.
Yep.
Morten, your week.
My week. My week has also been this week mostly a LoRa week. We seem to have dug ourselves deep into a rabbit hole with the LoRa APRS. So I managed to configure this little thingy with the Ricardo Guzman firmware. And this thing is great. It lasts for almost 2 days on the battery, thanks to the e-paper screen. And I have been playing around with that, testing a bit of range on my Digipeater. And then, as you said, you picked up some signals from me, and I'm going to show them first. I haven't really been doing a lot more. I've been doing one more thing. I'm going to get to that. But this is my APRS track driving home today on LoRa
Actually,
APRS.
if you extend that to 3 days, then you get your trip up as well. It's,
I don't think it was. Yeah, it probably was,
Yeah.
because it was out of I was out of power when I was going to do my soda yesterday, and that was probably because the thing was up and was on in my bag. But that is pretty impressive, because the track up is inside a backpack in the trunk of the car, where I thought that thing was off. So that is even surrounded by relatively more than usual amounts of alcoholic beverages. So I guess there's some attenuation in that as well. But that is actually pretty good with not having an external antenna. It shows that LoRa APRS is somewhat usable.
Absolutely. That's
So that's one of the things I've been doing this week. The other thing is that, and I'm just gonna switch tabs here. I've been doing or attempting a soda. And according to you, Bob, this is not a summit that should fit my my level of physical fitness.
No. That's not what I said. Anyone can do summits. You just have to do it at a pace that fits your fitness level. So that's not what I've been saying or meaning at all. But it's compared to the summits you have around where you live, this is not a walk in the park. Is what I'm saying.
It is not. It was actually. I still feel it. I did this yesterday. But it was a lot of fun, and 1,258 meters above sea level. Gives you a fantastic view. My issue, though, was that I packed the wrong kind of antenna for the kind of wind that was at summit. So I couldn't get HF up and running. But I got, as Dave did, 1 QSO on 2 meters. Let's see here. William asked, he has a couple of questions. Let's start with Kjetil here first. If it was steep, about 100 vertical meters per kilometer. So yes, parts of it was steep.
That's
parts of
is it steep? That's not what he's talking about.
Oh,
when something's steep for Kjetil, that means you're lying on your stomach, going your way up. That's steep.
Part of the trek was relatively steep. William asked if that wasn't 433 megahertz, and yes, it wasn't 433. But it shows that we're getting an infrastructure to handle these 20 or 100 milliwatts for LoRa APRS. And William had another question about books. Beginner books for LoRa. I have no idea. I used YouTube in order to get started. So you could watch mine and Bob's videos on the subject, and probably you'll have more questions when you're done with that.
There are, if you want the tech behind it, there are some really good videos going into the technology. It's called the chirped red spectrum technology that this thing uses. And if you're into technology, if you want to learn how that works, then I highly recommend them. If you just want to learn how to use LoRa, then those are probably not the right way.
He asked about beginner books though.
He did.
It would depend how you define a beginner though, but I don't think there are any LoRa APRS for Dummies books yet.
Haven't found anything. No, I'm
probably not
looking actually.
In addition,
YouTube though is a great place. Like in fairness, like you know, you get your keywords right, you'll find what you're looking for. I think.
Exactly, and it's really fun technology, and it's cheap to get started on it. You need a $20 board from AliExpress or Amazon or eBay, and you're basically starting. And They seem to multiply though, because I have another board on the way in the mail. So
yeah, that's what ends up happening. You're sitting on AliExpress and you're sort of going, like, well, I don't know if I need 4 of them. I'll just buy 4. Sure, it's nearly as cheap. And then 2 days later, you're like, oh, I need another one or whatever.
Or need a slightly different board because it might do something a little bit different.
Or rack or something like that. The rack boards use less power and differently. It's a class taught the LoRa APRS. To be honest, I knew it existed, but I saw it face to face at Ireland had actually our first ever ham fest there a couple of weeks ago, and I was down at that and at the SOTA stand. Some of the guys that I know from Ireland here who activate SOTA were showing me exactly what you guys have there, the tracker. So it's really just a case of the trackers. I'd say fairly straightforward. It's like everything else, isn't it? It's like getting people to put eye gates up. That's the key, isn't it? Because with the repeaters, obviously, well, you probably can do it license free. Is it license free?
No, it's not license free.
Well, well, it is. But you have to turn the power way down. That would mean 10 milliwatts, not 100 milliwatts in Norway. You can run in that frequency space license free.
Well, I suppose, if you're, but even just eye gates as they're just a receive device, like if you get more of them out there,
that could be done license free as long as it's a receive only eye gate.
That's what I mean. And the receive eye gates, like it's all about getting more eye gates out there, because generally what's happening, I think, is people are building their own trackers and then building an eye gate to facilitate their own tracker. And then if it catches more people, great. Like although you guys have gone well down, as you say, down the rabbit hole with it, so it's still a couple of things down my bench before I get to it yet, but it's definitely on the bench.
And it's
especially as a SOTA operator, it's
speaking about that, Fraser, Radio Rover. Is that his
Yeah.
He's got a digipeater or an eye gate. I think it's just a digipeater up in the mountains where he does a lot of his SOTAs.
On the mountain, the big.
So that's solar powered, and Scotland has
in Scotland.
Scotland. I was going to say Scotland has relatively the same kind of weather as we do, and that should mean if it works in Scotland, it should work here.
Yeah, that's true. Nice.
So I need to reach out to him and see how he does it and what's his experiences using a solar powered digipeater as.
Yeah, I saw the videos on that. All right, it's pretty cool. Like what problem you would have here is somebody would probably move it or take it. Because everything's private land over here, like, so it's hard to put things up on mountains. But we do have along similar lines with the Meshtastic. We have a Meshtastic repeater node just on this side of the bay. I'm in kind of a bay in the northwest Donegal Bay, and it covers that whole area, and it's sitting up there with a little AliExpress solar panel on it, and the solar panel is actually vertical, so facing just straight out to the west, and that's running for over a year now with a rack board in it and a couple of the batteries like you have in yours there, and that's running. It's over a year running now just on that solar panel, which is pretty cool because the rack uses a lot less power than the Heltec. Not a lot less, but
the reason I built this battery powered one is that Ricardo Guzman he created a new firmware where he rewrote some of the logic and put the thing in deep sleep for a lot more of the time. I can't remember the numbers anymore, but I think was it 7 milliamp hour draw in idle. Basically very, very little at least. So that was the reason I wanted to build the battery powered thing. Just see how long it lasts on the three batteries.
And you're soak testing that at the moment there in the basement, you were saying,
that's
so we need to reach out to Fraser and hear his experiences on the solar powered digipeater, because that can extend the range of the network a lot if you have a place to put that.
Yeah, big time. Big time.
For my the way I look at it, you say you have a lot of private land, but this is a very, very small device, and it's not easy to see. So if you just climb up the tree, it doesn't really matter who owns the land.
Yeah,
beneath
no,
the tree.
your one isn't, but I don't know if you saw Fraser's.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's quite. It's fairly big if I remember correctly, Morton. It's not.
It's fairly big, but it's about half a meter above ground up in the mountain. So I think you need to know where it is in order, or accidentally stumble upon it in order to find it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Kjetil, he's not here because he had some troubles at Gatwick Airport. He did a talk for the RSGB convention yesterday, and he asked if you would consider LoRa digipeters as repeater traffic. Well, yeah, I would say so. Yeah. Not in the sense we're going to discuss now, but still.
I would say I would consider that repeater traffic when it comes to, let's say, summits on the air. I wouldn't activate through a digipeater for summits on the air. I would not call it a repeater when it comes to, let's say, the strict interpretation of the laws in Norway. That would mean that it would require its own call sign and its own frequency allocation and a whole lot of red tape that I don't want to get into. So exactly. In some other cases, no.
Yeah. Nice save there, Bob.
Yeah.
But we're almost at half an hour now, so I guess it's time to get to the topic of the day, because you actually reached out to me, Dave, a couple of months ago, and asked if we wanted to do a show on repeaters and why people aren't using them. And I think that's a good discussion, actually, to discuss this, because you said in Ireland there's not a lot of traffic on the repeaters, and I see that here as well. As a repeater manager, we're basically two people using the club repeater here, and we could technically reach each other on simplex most of the time. And I can see that all around Norway. I've been traveling a lot and trying to open repeaters, and you never get a reply. So
yeah, it's similar in Ireland here, as I said. Yeah, again, I'm keeper of Truskmore here for the club in the northwest, EI2TKR, and there's a number of different repeaters around Ireland. You will get a reply, and it mightn't be as bad all the time. It sort of depends, really, but definitely, even when we network repeaters. So, for example, we have as we were talking about earlier, an all-star node. I actually have it down off the repeater at the moment, so our repeater at this moment in time is standalone. Just as I said, it was programming it up to link to the other repeater in the near future, but it is linked via All-Star to another repeater in just north of the center of the country, EI2 SBR, another VHF repeater. And even with a 2 repeater, and then there's a third one actually on an island off the west coast, but that is a quiet place, in fairness, so I can understand there. But the coverage plot of them 2/3 repeaters, if you take the island in, is quite big. And yeah, it still can be very, very quiet on the repeaters. And I know that a lot of people would, for example, would go on many nights of the week and use HF. However, using repeaters, and not just repeaters, I think also VHF and 70SEM simplex. I think that comes into the scope of this as well. Just in general, using the VHF and UHF spectrum that's allocated to the amateur community, I think it's underutilized a lot. And I actually don't know why. And that's kind of why I reached out, because I'd love to hear the different opinions of you guys here on the show, and also the opinions of your viewers in the comments, and definitely invite people to throw their 2 cents in as to why they think these bands are fairly quiet in general. And when we talked about it before, Martin, you said it's not just, it isn't just here. It's in the UK, it's with you guys. I don't know what it's like in Germany there, Jürgen, but in general, they're pretty quiet, I think, and definitely the repeaters probably more so than simplex. So yeah, it's just to throw it out there, and I wonder what the what the psychology is behind it, and then I suppose to discuss the consequences, maybe to finish up on, like we said, Morton.
Yeah, because
if we don't use
there
it,
are
you know?
some consequences if you don't use the
Yeah,
bands, and
absolutely, yeah.
And we're not the only people that want to use these frequencies. I have been experiencing a bit of surge in VHF traffic the last couple of months, and you probably have as well, Bob. And that's due to a little bit of a Facebook Messenger group that's popped up here, where people actually set up skeds and say that they're calling, because I'm as guilty as everyone else. I got my 2-meter radio right here on the desk and it's off. So I think the start is actually to listen and do a couple of calls. I've been doing
exactly.
I've been doing a couple of calls. I have it as my routine driving home from work. I got about an hour drive. So when I leave work, I make a couple of calls on Simplex. And when I get in range of the repeater I'm managing, I make a couple of calls there every day.
That's exactly it, Martin. Yeah, that's exactly what I'd love to more people to get in. Now, not everybody likes putting radios in their cars, and you know, a lot of cars are purchased on rental deals and stuff like that now. But I think you can set something up, and even if it's from your home, try to call out every now and then. And for people like me and you that drive a lot, listen. Even just listening, so that if some random person happens to come into your area that maybe isn't even from there and calls out, or even somebody local, that there's somebody there to answer. You know, that's one of the key things. Even if you don't necessarily call out that often, even listening, and when you hear somebody responding, I think that's that's a start. You know,
that is absolutely a start. And does anyone want to make a guess on how many Simplex QSOs I've had calling out for more than a year on 145.5 every day at about 4 p.m.
And that's in an hour, for an hour journey.
I haven't been calling for an hour though, but I call for about 10 minutes every day when I leave the office. Anyone want to guess on the number of total QSOs in a year?
It's definitely on one hand anyway. But...
Yeah, it's definitely on one hand.
Because you can do that with one hand as well.
Zero.
I think that the problem with that, because if I were to do that, I would get a response every day. But that's because in this area, there's people I know, and if you did that in Tønsberg, Morten, you probably wouldn't, because they don't know you.
Exactly. But James is correct. I got 2 QSOs in a year. And I've been getting kind of creative in the way I call CQ now, because I know that nobody's listening nonetheless, though. So I can keep it long and elaborate and complain a little bit about people not using 2 meters and ask if the hams are really sad hams in the area. Not that really helps.
Well, you'll definitely get an answer then.
Yeah.
But I think you're onto something with putting a radio in your car, at least. But when I drive, unless I drive really far, and in that case I put on the Ham Radio Workbench podcast. But if I just on a normal drive, then I'll have time to answer a call. But I don't anymore. But I had a VHF UHF radio in the shack here. But when I'm here, I'm usually working on something. I'm in the middle of something. So if someone calls, I don't know them. It's a bit of a chore to put what I'm doing aside to answer that call. Yeah. And some people, they love to talk, and they can talk for a half an hour. So I'm sort of reluctant when I don't know them.
I know. Yeah. I think you can get into a long conversation sometimes.
And most of the time, it's a very good conversation, nice people and everything. It's not a problem with that. But basically, I think compared to 20 years ago, people have something to do all the time. I think you're never idle. You're not just sitting there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And that's why I think it's a good idea to have a radio and have a radio on in your car. Because at least for me, when I'm driving the short distance, I'm doing absolutely nothing. I love to hear someone calling that I can answer when I'm driving.
I have to commute.
For anybody who, even from a safe point of view, if people don't like to have a physical radio in their car and a mic, if repeaters, which a lot of them are now, are either Echolink linked or All Star linked, you can even have it through your the hands-free system on your car with your phone, you know, listening in. If your club has a repeater, for example, and if it has All-Star, like I can listen to our repeater anywhere when the All-Star node is on it in the world, even mobile, if I'm mobile, and I can just have a push button on the dash or a Bluetooth button to PTT with my phone. So if some people don't like, you know, radios in the car. So, but again, that's only for internet connected ones. But yeah, and it's not everywhere. Like you said, Bob, you're in a more urban area there, so you have a busier, you have a higher populace of people around the repeater network. So if you call it, you're going to get an answer. That's fair enough. And down in the south of Ireland, in the southern half of Ireland, there's a network of a good few repeaters, a great network, excuse me, called the Southern Ireland Repeater Network, and it covers a large area of the south of Ireland, and because it has higher coverage, you know, you'd have much better chance of getting a response on that. I can't remember now how many repeaters are linked there together. Somebody in the chat, Leonard's on, or somebody there might be able to tell me. But I think there's 5 or 6 all networked together. So you can imagine now with the size of Ireland, and they're all on good high sites, how much that covers of the south of Ireland. One of them actually reaches well up into the Midlands. But even there can be times when you would call and you might not hear anything either. But there definitely is it's well known down there. They read the Irish Radio Transmitter Society news over that repeater network on a Tuesday night as well. So it does get great use. So that's kind of like a bit different. But then further up, where most of the repeaters are either not linked or you know, standalone repeaters, and in less populous areas, definitely. But there's definitely people listening. You know, there are people there.
Absolutely. And
you know,
I just want to comment on the populous areas though, because where I work, it's, as I said, a Twin Cities, and the total combined population is about 120,000 people. That I can pretty much reach with.
That's not a low population.
That is not a small urban area, so I should be able to get someone there.
Yeah, and you and I, we're just on different sides of the Oslo Fjord. We have about the same area of people we can reach. But I don't think, for my case, when I call out the repeater here, it's not because of the population. It's because there are people I know personally. From my club.
Right. Sorry, Bob. Yeah, misunderstood.
On these repeaters, and they would be more likely to answer. And if one of them call, I would be more likely to answer, even if it interrupted me with something I'm doing, as opposed to if someone I had no idea who was calling. So I think that's for me at least, and for the group around where I live, I think that's an important factor.
There's also the factor. I think there's also the factor of the, you know, whatever way you want, whether good or bad. The reality is. HF and band conditions, and you know, having a good antenna, and the fact that you may actually reach somewhere mad far away, and the effort, you know, the reward to a certain extent of even on long distance simplex, for example, which the conditions ironically, you know, we had this weekend, VHF was reaching massively far, which saw massive activity, and then the 145 Alive initiative as well that was going on here and in the UK and all. But I think the challenge of simplex and the reward of simplex is also a factor, and the fact that I think maybe I'm wrong now, but using a repeater can almost seem too easy sometimes, and it's not. And some people don't see it as you know, as much of a part of the hobby. I've actually spoke to people who don't see it as you know, real radio. It's one of these things. Some people say that sometimes.
But you know, yeah, and you're probably right though, because a QSO3 repeater does not give you the same bragging rights as having a long distance
and it doesn't, you know,
simplex.
Things like that. Yeah. So there's a bit of that as well, probably in the psyche, maybe, you know.
I have when I don't sleep at night, because I do what you do, Dave. I work on project into the night, and my head runs at 120 kilometers an hour when I try to sleep. I get ideas instead of sleeping. I get ideas, and I have an idea of a sort of an activity that you can actually do on repeaters that would grant you points for things. It's not really matured yet, but I think that would be a cool thing. Like what Parks on the Air has done. Basically, if you can get into a park, spot yourself, you're going to have on a bad day 10 QSOs, on a really good day 100 QSOs from that park. If you could get some sort of a program like that where that included repeaters, I think that can make a huge difference.
Gamification of repeater use is probably a really good idea, but
it would probably piss off some of the
I was going to say that the 80 meter crowd might not enjoy that as much.
Yeah. Well, what happened? One thing just on that, like I mentioned earlier, the weekly news being read through the Southern Ireland network. So what we've done is in our repeater, the weekly news that's read through the Southern Ireland network of repeaters on a Tuesday evening. That's great. Any kind of weekly sort of that is going to happen, and like they could have. And around Christmas, where they actually try to actively go out and try to promote for a high call-in, like the number of callers on that could be over 100, and usually then as the year goes on, it sits in and around the 50. So they read the news, and then the newsreader goes, sort of net style asks, start at 1 week they'll start at the zeros up to the nines, and then the next week they'll start with the 9 down to the zeros. So every second week you're not, if you're a 1. 1 week you're going to be at the end of the call-in, but the next week you're going to be at the start. And what we actually do, this is the beauty of All-Star. I know you were talking about Morton. You're looking into possibly getting that for yours. So with All-Star, we actually connect 5 minutes before the news starts to that bigger network. Or on Echolink. Actually, they don't have All-Star, they have Echolink, but the HamVoIP does All-Star and Echolink. So we automatically have a script that runs and connects to that 5 minutes before the news. So people up here in the Northwest who can't reach that network and listen to the news can listen to the news, and they can also call in to the call-in afterwards. And that now definitely generates traffic for, I see call signs coming in on that news call that I never hear on the repeater when I call 5 days a week, so that's really good. So things like that, and whatever Bob has boiling in his head there, I'll be happy to hear whatever that is whenever he's got it. I'm not going to ask him to reveal anything early, because I'm sure you're the type of guy who doesn't like to get things out there until you have it well ready.
Sounds about right.
Interested to hear that as well. So
so
that does help. So that's the kind of like maybe what you're thinking of, something similar, Bob. It's just a reason for activity, or running even nets. Although some people, I remember I did a net on a repeater, and somebody said they thought it was, it was a bit weird having a net on a repeater. And I said, well, it's just to generate activity. Let people know the repeaters are there and the type of people who can reach them, or not the type of people, the people who can reach them, so they know that, all right, okay, I didn't realize that person was in range. So anyway, that's just a.
We have around these parts, we have what we call fylkesnettet, which is I think 6 repeaters linked, covering a pretty large geographical area, and they have at least once a week. They have a weekly check-in. This is not my local group, it's a neighboring county's ham radio group, and they do check-in on that net, and basically that does a few things. It keeps the net or the repeater network active, and they also get to test all the different nodes, because every time there's at least one person checking in
on each
every single node in the network. So they get to monitor it, and they get to use it, and then they're used to using that network to communicate. I think that's fantastic. But that's for an hour once a week, sadly. So other than that, it's mostly quiet on that.
But that's still good, though. At least that's better than nothing.
We did this. We did this in Austria as well, here in the eastern part. And at the beginning, 25 hams participated in this weekly event. But over the weeks, you can see the participants, leaving, not joining the net. I'm not sure. And there is less and less traffic. So, and we have also these rush hours. In the morning, we have lots of traffic, so the repeaters around when everyone's driving to work, and in the afternoon it's the same rush hour when they're on the way back home. But over the day it's quiet. When I work from home and I turn on the repeaters, I have several VHF, UHF radios here, and all are running on a different repeater. It's quiet.
So it's the same. It's the same in Austria. So then it's no different.
And what we talked about before, it's very important to answer a call if someone's calling.
Yep.
And that's what I am doing. I mean, I have to commute every day when I'm not working from home for about 40 minutes or so. And yeah, radio is always on. I have to switch repeaters because of the of the landscape. I cannot reach my home repeater all the time, so I have to switch to another one. But when someone's calling, I give him an answer. And
Yeah.
lots
That's
of
that's
people from other
important.
countries trying to call over our repeaters because they are very high in elevation, and there are people from Hungary, from Czech Republic, from Slovak Republic. Sometimes when there are enhanced conditions, people from Poland try to work over our repeaters. And yeah, when I hear them, I give them an answer, of course, because I know how annoying it is when you are traveling somewhere, you're calling and yeah, no one's
That's
answering.
it. That's the most important. And sometimes it can be a bit of a chore to answer if you're just not really you're not really in the right scenario to do it. Maybe you're in the middle of something, or and as you mentioned earlier, Bob, maybe sometimes you might kind of, if the caller is somebody that you might think this might turn into a long conversation that I'm not going to be able to easily cut off or whatever it is. But I do think that even if people answer and then just honestly say, yeah, the 2 or 3 overs, and then sort of just say, look, I gotta go, because you genuinely have to go. Like, I think it's better to answer and then let somebody go, even if it is slightly abruptly, than to not answer, if you can. Obviously there's times you just can't, but all of those little things I think will help. But yeah, it's just a funny topic, isn't it? I don't know really. I don't think there's any one big reason for it. But again, about the losing the spectrum is the thing. If we don't use it, we can lose it,
And the other problem, when I started with the hobby, we had only FM repeaters. And then they started with D-Star, they started with DMR, then, I don't know, Fusion or whatever.
Fusion,
and all the traffic was spread out over these repeaters. So then we had this group building. There was some groups on DMR, some groups on Fusion, some groups on D-Star, and yeah.
You think kind of, Jürgen, it was nearly too many options? You mean, is it, or it was a good?
Too many options. Then after a while, at least we in Austria, we started to interconnect them, our digital repeaters, so you can easily link from DMR to Fusion, and from Fusion to D-Star, etc. So you can connect them together, and then you have a little bit more traffic, of course. But too much possibilities.
The possibilities, and with DMR and such, people aren't necessarily looking for local traffic. They're looking to get out and using the repeater as a means to connect to a talk group with a wider base than locally. But I do think that initiatives like 145 Alive and similar could help on 2 meter and 70 centimeter use. It's going to be fun to see. Me and Bob, we're starting 145 Alive in 2 weeks, I think, here in Norway.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. Maybe. Isn't it 1st of November, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's a Saturday. So yeah, that's 3 weeks ahead. So it's gonna be, I have had messages from a couple of people around the country that want to do net control there. So it's already, before we've started, grown into something, and then it's going to be exciting to see if people actually bother to check in.
Everyone I speak to about this, they're enthusiastic and think this is a good idea. So let's,
The 145 Alive stations, in my experience from the people I've spoke to activating them, and the videos I've seen, like it will do well. It's one of those scenarios. Number one, it's simplex, so there's that little bit more of an intent there, rather than the repeaters. And number two, like for the event itself, people do show up. In our experience here, in Ireland and anything I've seen over in the UK, it definitely seems to, people do come out of the woodwork for it, you know.
Yeah. And Andre here asked what 145 Alive
Good question.
is.
Of course, yeah.
And it's an activity for 2 meters for simplex with nets spread around, well, for starters now UK and Ireland, and we're expanding it into Norway 1st of November, with net controllers on simplex on 2 meters, for people to try to check into the nets and encourage activity on 2 meters.
Yep, good description.
Yep. Yeah, good. That's a short story, and yeah, I see that that Bonnet here also says that it's to encourage people to spend a day using 2N70. So yep, it's nothing complicated. It's not a contest. It's just 2 meter activity basically on simplex, and that might. When you're done with the nets, I've seen discussions on our Facebook group that people want to move on to repeaters after the simplex nets are done, which will certainly help utilize the bands.
Absolutely. I'm seeing now also people talk about sideband usage as well after the FM check-ins, but I think most people doing 2 meter sideband will do it horizontally polarized.
Yeah,
and everyone out and about for doing the 145 Alive will probably be doing vertical. So I'm not sure that's
yeah, and as far as I've been told by the people that actually own the concept, it's FM only. So
yeah.
But there's nothing to stop us from doing a 144 Alive event on sideband.
I think
I don't think you won't reach the same amount of people though with sideband traffic.
Actually,
people don't have the radios. Like I don't actually have a sideband VHF radio, to be honest. That's
exactly.
You'd be surprised. I actually did some nets on 2 meter sideband a couple of years ago, and we got quite an impressive turnout. And I think that's just for the novelty of it, because there are quite a few radios that can do sideband. And if you do it on a vertical polarization, then people have the antenna already, so it's just a matter of switching the mode on the radio, and you can take part in this exciting new mode that you normally never use for 2 meters.
I think as well, Bob, from in Ireland and the UK, what I see about relative to sideband on 2 meters seems to be like SOTA drives it a lot. SOTA seems to be a popular, SOTA activators seem to be quite active with it. If you had to sort of nail it down to a group of people, you know, that use it the most, I don't know, would you agree? I think that SOTA operators kind of use it a fair bit because you can get that a little bit.
What I see here is that sideband is, well, mostly used, not a lot, but it's mostly used on the Nordic activity contests every first Tuesday in the month with the 2 meter contest.
That's what you were doing there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did that on Tuesday. I had one QSO on sideband, and that was 7 kilometers away. Wow. And then I had a 300 kilometer plus FT8 QSO on 2 meters, which is I wish more people were doing sideband as well, because it's a good way of utilizing the band and actually do something that has a bit of a novelty to it, because not a lot of people do it.
You mentioned FT8 as well. I've never even attempted it on, to be honest. I don't know if I have a CAC controllable radio for 2 meters, but that's another one as well, the digital modes.
Yep. Well, you need a sideband radio though.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I agree with you. I think when it comes to sideband on 2 meters, the SOTA Summits on the Air crowd is most likely to take part of that. And I have one friend from the club that used to do that quite a lot. He would normally, he started his doing his Summits on the Air with just a handy talkie. And he would go to mountain scene. He would call with that thing with his 771 long telescopic antenna till he got his 4 contacts on FM. But he also did at occasion bring the 705 and did the sideband. And we found that you can actually get further on sideband from summits than you do on FM.
I would imagine that would be the case. Yeah.
So, but I wouldn't say it's common, not in the least.
No, it's not. It's not common. No. here neither, but the only people I hear talking about using it is soda operators. Now maybe that's because I know a lot of soda operators, but
a 2-element 2-meter beam is relatively compact. Let's say a 2-meter Moxon is relatively compact to bring to a summit, though. So it's a practical band to do that on.
Yeah,
true. Yep.
Yeah.
The question is, when I do that, how many stations can hear me on SSB? How many counterparts do I have? I don't think many stations have an SSB 2-meter SSB radio.
No.
I mean, I have one, but
Yeah.
the most activity center here for SOTA is around 145, 500 ish in FM.
Yeah, same here. And to be honest, just a quick one slightly back on topic with regards to the use of the 2-meter band. Whether rightly or wrongly, in almost any SOTA activation that I do, what you should be doing is calling on 145 500 and then QSYing. There's no need to, because there's nobody else. And I'll tell you what, and the funny thing about it is, and this is the difference between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, there's much more activity on VHF simplex in the north of Ireland. I don't know, is that because of the tiered license system, because a lot of say the whatever you call the novice license or whatever, that's what they start into. They start into the 2-meter band, but when I'm near the border, I would always have to, or over the border, I would always QSY. But anywhere in the Republic of Ireland, I generally don't need to be honest. You just don't need to, because there's nobody else there. You're lucky if you get the 3 contacts. Never mind somebody going to get off the frequency.
So, I think the problem here is if you tried to actually activate on 145 500 in Norway, you could listen to the radio for a week and not hear anything on that frequency. If you try to activate a summit, someone will come out and tell you to get off their frequency.
Isn't it great? That is exactly the essence of this whole thing. The whole thing with it all. It's hilarious. So.
And I just want to say, if you listen, do consider actually replying once in a while. Maybe not every time, but once in a while, just to keep the bands alive, because we all love radio and we all want to use the radios we have. And I mean, I don't have 19 HTs still, because I sold a couple and then I bought a couple, so I'm not sure the correct number now, but I have a lot of radios that don't get to see enough use.
You have more radios than you have hands, Morton. That's
and I have more radios than QSOs.
That's right.
At least on 2 meters and 70 centimeters.
I don't think the balance sheet is working correctly there now. That doesn't add up. Yeah. Very good.
But seriously though, just to conclude a little bit, I see we're getting close to the top of the hour here, but we've been doing this show just to encourage you to think a little bit about these bands and try to use them. And if you're out traveling, bringing an HT is a whole lot simpler than bringing an HF rig and an antenna. And you can actually do 2-meter from a hotel. You can't do HF from a hotel. So well, yes, you can. I have a video on using a mag loop inside a hotel room, which is not.
Morton, you literally have a video of doing that.
Yeah, I do. But I spent 40 hours to get one FT8 QSO from that mag loop inside the hotel room.
All right, I don't have a video, but I did FT8 from the 14th floor of our hotel room, right off Times Square in New York. I would just stick the antenna out the window, hang one of the antenna wires, and use the tuner in the G90. Sadly, I don't have a video, but I'm very proud of that activity.
Cool,
yeah. And as we're talking about repeater traffic.
Oh,
we have some traffic here. There's one guy. It's 9 p.m. He's walking his dog and having the radio with him.
Seriously, just
the same. A local guy walking his dog. Actually, about 40 kilometers from here today. I was mobile. He was walking his dog. So there's there's good stuff happening too.
And that's a good point though. Incorporate radio into your daily routines.
Yeah.
Like I posted a video playing a game yesterday, drinking whiskey and beer and having my APRS receiver in sight on Discord. Just incorporate ham radio into your daily life.
Yeah.
Normalize ham radio. Make it okay to stand in a park or on a mountaintop or on the street with an HT.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that individual I was speaking to today, he does exactly that. He will be standing with people walking past, whether it's on a cliff or he was on sand dunes in a seaside town in Sligo today. And I know that will be people walking past him, but he doesn't mind. You know, a lot of people kind of hide the hobby sometimes, I think too. You know.
Well, just start doing parks on the air in public places, and you'll get rid of that fear pretty fast.
I sadly have no shame and no social intelligence, so I'll play radio anyway.
So thank you, Dave, for being on. I think this was a really nice discussion. We don't have any solutions, but at least we've addressed some of the issues and discussed the subject, and hopefully people will just get a mindset where it's okay to do a 2-meter QSO and call CQ once in a while and open a repeater at a new place, and people will actually answer. Because that was one of the things I really wanted to do when I got into ham radio. I thought about just having an HD. I quickly figured that wasn't the way to do ham radio, but it should be. And it's possible to have it that way, because everyone has at least 3 Baofengs. So, minimum. We'll be back next week, and next week will really be the Ham Clock show that I wrongly announced last week. Because this time I've spent the week learning how to read a calendar. And next week is the Ham Clock show with Andre, Yankee Oscar 3 Golf November uniform. So it's going to be exciting to see and learn a little bit more about ham clock, because I need to get a ham clock back up in my shack. And Shannon's a little bit behind on the Baofengs. You need at least 3. Or if a Kenwood D74 counts, that's 2 Baofengs. Bob, you have one of those. Does that count as 2 Baofengs?
And D75, and I'd say they count for at least 10 each. So if you have the you're good.
Yeah. So, and Charlotte says that she never uses a repeater, so she might have a crack at using repeaters this week. Good luck, because I tried opening all 3 of the repeaters in the Edinburgh area in January, and I didn't get a single QSO, but good luck.
I actually George from a roof in Florida.
Hey George,
I think I was telling you this, Morton. From a roof in Florida, I think I could reach 7 repeaters in Orlando, and there was only one of them I was getting answers on, and that was because it was part of a big network. I didn't realize that at the time, but it was part of, it was joined some way up the coast as well. So so it's everywhere. It's the same everywhere.
And George is here, and actually, I listened to your field day show driving home today, and I got some ideas for field day, George. So thank you for doing that. Anyhow, we're going to say 7-3 now, and we'll be back next week with the Ham Clock show. Thank you, Dave, and 7-3 all.
Thank you.
7-3.
7-3.
Bye-bye.